the war we won. The Greeks tried to erase who we are. And that's what they built to God above. Showed his evil with us in the dark. When one I turned to hate, that's why we celebrate. In the dark of night, the candles stand for hope.
Chag Sameach. During Al Nisim, on Chanukah, we say, Masarta giborim biyad chalashim, ve'rabim biyad me'atim, which makes a lot of sense, right? The miracle was so great because the Greeks were so many and the Jews so little. So it was a great miracle that the Jews won and overcame the Greeks. And the Greeks were brave and they were great warriors, so it makes a lot of sense that the miracle is even greater when the weak win the strong. But Al Nisim goes on to tell us something else. It tells us also, Masarta reshaim biyad tzadikim, you gave the not righteous, the reshaim, in the hands of the righteous, v'tmeim biyad tehorim, and the unpure people in the hands of the pure. And we have to ask, how does that make the miracle any bigger? Why would I even think that you'd expect that the tehorim people would lose to the tmeim? What does that everything to do with war? Why are we praising that every day in Al Nisim? The answer teaches us two things. On the first level, the Greeks, the way they did war was in a very vulgar, a very crust way. They would go around with the skulls of their enemies and to go from place to place and instill fear and terror in the heart of anyone they were conquering. And the Jews were simple. They didn't know anything about war. They didn't think about murder. They were righteous. So it is a very big miracle that the Jews, even though they weren't familiar with this kind of attitude and this kind of behavior, to overcome their normal behavior, to overcome their normal purity, and for just that time, overcome even the people who it was their everyday life to act in such an unpure and in such a warlike way of life. That's one thing we can learn from here, why the miracle is so much greater when the righteous overcome the unrighteous, even if it's war. The second thing we can learn from here is even deeper. You'd expect righteous people who go out to war in a certain place not be the same righteous people they were before. After all, they had to kill, they had to murder, they had to destroy houses, destroy lives. People, it's not such a nice thing to do war. But what we learn is that even though they did these terrible things, and even though they went out to war, what do we call them? Tzadikim. They are still just as righteous as they were before they went out to war. And that is an amazing, amazing thing. And you only can have such an amazing level when you do a milchemet mitzvah. Only when you do a milchemet mitzvah are we certain that even though we do terrible things and even though we go out to war, we are still righteous and we are still tzadikim and tehorim. Chag Sameach.